All right, now we are moving along to the third DBA Army highlight here at Epic Fox Battlegrounds. And this is going to be the Midianite army, and it is one of the earliest armies in the entire DBA system. It is a sub army of the early Bedouin from 3000 BC to 312 BC. So it again, has a far range in the eras. And this is going to be out of book one, Army List 6, subset B as in Bravo. And it is the Midianite or Amalekite army, 1500 to 312 BC. Or it can also be the early Arab army, 1000 to 312 BC as well. They all use the same setup, and that includes one general camelry unit, 4 elements of camels, 4 elements of 3 auxiliary, which are javelin men, 1 element of psiloi, which are archers, and 2 elements of slingers or javelin men, which are also psiloi. So it's a pretty simple system. They don't really have any hard hitters. This is an army where you definitely have to take advantage of the terrain that is offered, and their aggression is 3. So there are times, a lot of times, when you will be attacking, depending on who you're facing off with. So 3 is kind of, it's pretty aggressive, but sometimes it's not going to be aggressive enough to be on the attack. But what you would probably prefer is to be the defender with this army, and that way you can put their dry terrain type into use and deploy some sand dunes, as many as you can get on there, some oasis, anything that's going to give those camels an advantage over what they're fighting. That is really what you want to use. So this is more of a rough terrain army, and it is a specialist army in the fact that you got camels and you have a lot of fast moving, light hitting units. Nothing that's really going to be able to form a battle line at all. So you want to keep that in account when you're using this army, or if you plan on doing one. So what do we have down in front of us? Well, we have the army, but before we get into that, I'm going to read you the DBA description as I always do. And this list covers all the Near Eastern desert or dry steppe nomads prior to the Western introduction of the ridden horse. It includes the Amaru, the Martu or the Amorites, early Armenian nomadic immigrants to Babylonia from 2000 BC, and users of camels such as Midianites, Amalekites, and early Arabs. The usual method of fighting was to shoot a few missiles and then charge. Some camel troops are shown by Assyrian reliefs fleeing with 2 archers on 1 camel. And that is the DBA army description. So now we will get in there and take a closer look. Let me bend this tripod here. And down right in front of us, we have the general unit on his camel. I don't know if we can get a good angle there, but you can see his scepter that he's holding up, the figure right there in the middle. And these are the camel units are 15 millimeter Peter Pig. I'm having a hard time talking today. I've been packing my house all day long, and so it's good to just sit here and look at some of the miniatures that I haven't busted out in quite a while, and also just talk about wargaming. Getting a kick out of it, actually. So that's the general unit right there. We can spin him around, take a look, and that's it. Desert Nomads, they don't have any shirts on. Here's the camels themselves. I'm trying to keep it this side because that's the side that all the sunshine's coming in on. And as I already said, these are also 15 millimeter Peter Pig. And all the other figures, where did these javelin men come from? You know what? Those are 15 millimeter Peter Pig as well. Yes. Those auxiliary and psiloi there in the middle, those are also Peter Pigs. But these 2 archers are Essex. Those are from Essex. So anyway, back to the camels. That is the 4 elements of camelry that I have there. And And then, as I already stated, we have our 3 ox units right here, javelin men. Just kind of turn those, get back into the sunshine here. Keep forgetting about that angle of the sun there. And so we got one more back there. And then we have the same type of miniatures, just 2 to a base right there. And those are our 2 silo units. And then, of course, I have my 1 silo unit of African archers there. And that takes care of my Midianite army. Basically, like I said, with this army, it's not a hard-hitting army. This is a specialist army where you really want to take advantage of the scattered terrain, try and lure your enemies into that terrain, and attack while they're in it and they're caught up, because you will have a lot of advantages in that rough going terrain, and that's where you want to stay at for the most part. Your camels, like I said, if you can either square them up against elements of horse or catch pretty much anybody in the sand, you're going to be at an advantage there. So that takes care of the Midianites. Hope you like them. And let me know your experiences with them if you do have or have an army or have experience playing one. So I'd be interested in comparing tactics and ideas for this one. It's fun, but they're hard to use. I can tell you that. Anyway, that's it. Epic Fox out.